Okay, this goes. I'm trying to condense a lot into about 10 minutes, so bear with me. Uh, Anthony, going to the original thing you said about the idea, the different little factions of how people want to use ninjutsu, and then the idea of making ninjutsu a modern source for the idea of being a lone operator. Um, you come into a couple of issues here. One is a lot of the historical information really isn't going to be that relevant in the modern era. So a lot of things like how samurai would respond to each other, things like that, they're not really going to be relevant to a lot of people. And if you're looking at making it a relevant system for self-defense or military application or just some really cool skills to use for possibly self-defense with military application. Uh, you you come into a whole fiasco in and of itself. Um, all right. In my case, and I have to point this out. I've used the ninjutsu I was taught, coming from the Emoto Ryu, which is a martial arts system with ninjutsu in it, and then I've trained with Ashita Kim like twice. uh, but most of the training that was done was primarily espionage oriented. So uh, I've kind of blended that with some other material that I've studied on my own, and well, mixing it with my army infantry training and everything else. Now, the problem I come into is there's a lot of people who want this information who really don't need it, criminals and such. Um, the other issue comes into it is this: that we live in the 21st century. There's this whole global war on terrorism. Uh, Despite all the claims of winning this war, there's more terrorists. People are still blowing themselves up, still blowing other people up, still killing people. And, you know, uh, a lot of these skills, as far as gathering intelligence, reading body language, uh, they're based on a principle, or more specifically, a set of principles, which, while timeless, isn't always going to be applied the same way based on time. The world's a lot smaller place than what it was uh, during the Sengaku period. Um, and what we're running into is a situation where a lot of things will be gone from ninjutsu, gone from that aspect. Now, I agree with you 100% that when you're talking about this, ninjutsu is a very small, finite set of skills in a much broader spectrum. The way I prefer to look at it is you're talking about strategic or tactical awareness. The now tactics are prepared, preset, planned actions that if the enemy does this, you do this type of thing, and a strategy is simply following a series of goals. Now, when you're looking at ninjutsu, before you get into even the martial arts or the application of fighting, the idea of being the lone operative, uh, a lot of your activities, a lot of the things you're going to do is going to have a basis for a strategy, that whole idea of planning, that long-term planning. And quite frankly, I think Stephen the Jury pointed out that there's the issue here that there's some people who want to make Notori Ryu into like a brotherhood or a fraternity, and then some people who just want to have it as a collective set of knowledge that they can use and take away from or add to or what have you for their own ends. And while I'm just going to go ahead and cut straight to the chase. As a guy who has pretty much created my own modern combat espionage tactical system based off ninjutsu with ad libs from other sources, um, or at least what I was told was ninjutsu. And I even going back, I've used some of your books, the historical information, uh, pointing to certain things because, quite frankly, there's a lot of things in there which goes right on hand in hand with a lot of other things. Me and you had that whole discussion years ago about ground burning. I was talking about the idea of telling you that when I was taught something similar to that, that we put the dirt over top of the coals. Uh, there's a lot of elements to this, to the traditional application, to the principles for modern application, so on and so forth, that make the whole thing of lasting value. Now, when you're talking about the idea of uh, whether it's just a set of skills or whether it's its own little brotherhood or uh, whether you're in it for historical value or live action role playing or you're trying to make it into a modern combat system, because let's face it, there's a lot of people out there, and I'm one of them myself, who was always interested. I always loved the spies, not the James Bond fantasy spies, but I always loved reading books about Cold War spies or some of the spies during World War II. The actual stories about what they really did and some of what these guys did was just amazing. There's a lot of applications of skills that didn't exist in feudal Japan that I've taken from the accounts of actual spies during World War II. Uh, things like pretending to window shop but using reflective surfaces of glass to check behind you for tails, or a number of different things, or following someone but being in front of them and you watching them through the reflective surfaces in front of you while you're pretending to window shop or what have you. A lot of these things come down to, and they're applicable to modern ninjutsu, or the modern application of ninjutsu as a lone operative type of thing. And a lot of these things are applicable to self-defense, especially in this new age of the global war on terrorism, uh, possible global economic collapse, and all the number of the world's going to end theories and doomsday preppers and such. What it comes down to is essentially that ninjutsu is going to be whatever an individual person makes it. It doesn't matter how you teach it. If you try not to create a brotherhood or a fraternal order or what have you, there will always be those who mesh together and create their own little clique. There will always be those who just want certain skills and take it and leave it, and that's it. The issue of most importance, of key importance, is in how and where you apply these things. The the issue, at least from my personal standpoint, is that a lot of times when you're looking at the principles behind these methods, when you're looking at the historical methods, and you're looking at how these principles historically can be applied in a modern context, you start looking at other sources of information for other places where it's been applied in a similar way to get a better understanding of it. And then as soon as you start down that road, you're going away from the feudal Japan, the Sengoku period, and you're going way out into left field looking at other sources. Cold War spy stories, World War II spy stories, World War I spy stories, the actions taken by scouts and spies and skirmish forces during colonial wars, activities applied by the Koreans during the first Shino War, um, the Viet Cong methods, the Communist Manifesto, uh, books like, oh geez, Mini Manual of the Urban Guerrilla, or Che Guevara's On Guerrilla Warfare, or my particular favorite, The War of the Flea. Uh, you get into, when you start looking at the modernization, you start looking, the application of principles goes well beyond simply one particular style. And the point I'm kind of getting to, I'm sorry for the rant, I'm getting to my 10-minute mark, is what I aim for. Uh, what you're getting to, the problem you're coming to, at least as far as I see it, is that no matter how you teach it, no matter how you apply it, people are going to take the knowledge and they're going to do whatever they want to with it. Uh, I've gotten I've gotten so bored with the historical arguments, lineage, drama, politics, that I've decided, you know what, I don't want a lineage, I don't want a drama, I don't want to holler 800-year-old ninja tradition, that I want to deal with modern combat effective. And I've mixed Army infantry training with, my martial arts training with presumably fake ninjutsu methods that worked. And you can see that I'm one of, the reality of the matter is these are skills I never thought I would use. I thought it'd be cool to experiment, it'd be cool to play with them, it'd be cool to kind of create them and to have them, but I'd never really use them. And I guess it's a lot like carrying a gun for self-defense. You never really plan to use it. You just think, yeah, I have it just in case. But you can look on my YouTube video and you can see that there's a playlist of videos where I have recorded police officers threatening me, where I've had these consistent bouts of harassment from police officers and had to fall back on, strategy and tactics in application of Yonin, of all things, in a court system to be able to use the criminal activity of people trying to railroad me through a court system, who have falsifying evidence, coercing witnesses, and everything else, to be able to try to have to clear my name. And the reality of the matter is that regardless of what is out there, the knowledge is out there. People are going to use it however they want. If they want to use their fantasy, if they want to, black ninja swordsman jumping around fantasies, and here's some cool stuff from, about body warmers and everything else, they're going to do it. If they want to get out there and they'll do the pretty much the samurai warrior reenactments, like the Civil War reenactments, which are popular out on this side of the pond, they're going to do it. If they're going to try to create a functioning combat espionage strategic system, like me, we're going to do it. The idea is, I think you need to worry less about trying to make it one particular thing or limiting the scope of it, and just making it a free basis of knowledge. Now, as far as you said about, wherever you're camped on that, you need to understand where you are and just, be honest about it. Hey, I'm the guy who wants something that works. So I don't just limit myself to ninjutsu or historical ninjutsu or stuff I've picked up from supposed fake ninja masters. Take your pick. I've trained in Bujinkan and I've trained with Ashita Kim, so really, what it essentially comes down to is, I want something that's going to work. I want something that is going to give me a particular set of skills that I can use in this 21st century new age of global terrorism and economic collapse and doomsday, whatever. Adapt, overcome, and hey, from all personal experiences and accounts, it seems to be working.